the chat was flaming him for his room. And they are moving. I just want to give you guys a reminder, and I think he's going to have a little bit of a sign for that as well. So definitely keep an eye on that. But we're going to get into the game. It is game number 1 of Championship Sunday, the last day of the AWC Season 2 Reload Esports versus Method EU, Sid.
All right, let's get it started here. Can Reload Esports get through the gauntlet of teams that have been giving them a hard time throughout this entire season? Method EU, the last time these teams faced off, utilized Rogue Mage Druid, and they just ran down the Restoration Shaman of Reload Esports. So I do wonder if we'll see the same compositions coming out from them that we saw in the circuit play, or if it's evolved since then. Is Reload Esports just going to go to their bread and butter? We saw in the first rounds of the upper bracket, they played Elemental Shaman, Shadow Priest, Resto Shaman, and they really brought that out as a curveball. But in the final game, they decided to go right back to their Ret Warrior Shaman, which makes me think that they're going to want to rely on their main composition, what they've practiced the most, what they're going to perform the best on for the remainder of this tournament. And if that's the case, and you're Method EU and you anticipate that, they might lock in the Shadow Priest Mage Druid, which would be really tough for them. There's a lot of mind games coming into this game 1. There's a lot of options on both sides. The edge, I think, is to Method EU. Reload Esports are going to have to take out a lot here if they're going to pull this one off.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be jumping into the game here shortly, but it's like you said, for Method EU, for both of these teams, they really needed to rise to the occasion. At this point, is elimination series after elimination series, and if either one of these teams is going to make it all the way, they have to win 3 in a row, and that's not going to be 3 series in a row. Not going to be an easy thing to do. I think for the blind pick, my kind of prediction for this one will be Reload Esports leads with their Shadow Priest Warrior Shaman. Yeah, okay, I did not guess Method EU correctly. I was going to guess Rogue Mage Druid, to be fair, but yeah, interesting. I feel like on paper, I actually would maybe give a slight edge here to Reload Esports. I think this is a great pick for them. And I feel like Method EU was trying to anticipate the Ret Warrior, and they kind of got mind games here in game number 1.
Yeah, it definitely looks that way, and that's going to be big because Reload Esports, they might just win this entire series off of a game 1 victory. So we'll see if they can actually do that or not. But right now, it's going to be all about the gameplay here. We got the big Earth Elemental out already on Tessia. It looks like they're actually pressuring the mage a lot here. Delay, though, forced into the dispersion early on here. We got a fear onto Chaz. Tessia still taking damage here from Mercy. There's the big pressure coming out, but Delay as well under heavy fire here in the opening stages. Shattering Throw comes out by Mercy to remove that ice block of Tessia. And if you're trading dispersion for ice block, I would say that's definitely in favor of the Shadow Priest and Reload Esports.
I think I need to go Necrolord on my Warrior right now. This looks like too much fun for Mercy right now against Method EU. Lontar in a polymorph, though, at the moment. Valet is isolated, getting pounced on by Tessia and Zuniaki. Is he going to survive for one more second? Lontar finally leaving the polymorphs, but now into a full Cyclone. Cyclone on his Master Spell, looking for a quarter. Switches the clone to Valet to prevent recovery. And now silencing Lontar. This could be very scary, but Tessia at the same time is low on health. No cooldowns, no Nature Swiftness for 7 more seconds. 6 more seconds on that Nature Swiftness. 4 more seconds. Is he going to manage to make it? 2, 1. Dispelling off of Vampiric Touch, putting him even further behind, but Nature Swiftness available. Is going to get Tessia back in the fight. Valet is now struggling to survive, trying to heal himself behind the pillar. Lontar's in the Cyclone. He line of sights nice Fleshcraft on the pound stun of Chaz. Valet immunes that incoming pressure and recovers. And this has been brutal so far in game 1 for both sides.
Yeah, back and forth. Valet under pressure. Tessia under pressure as well. He has to run and hide behind the pillar. Mercy has just been all over him, unrelenting in this assault. Another Stormbolt lands. That's going to be the medallion from Tessia to just create some space and try to get away, but just hasn't been able to so far. Mercy just chasing him down, putting a lot of pressure on the mana bar of Chaz. And even though it's been scary for Valet, I still feel like this game is going in favor of Reload Esports. Let's see if they can hold on. This is, of course, the combustion from Tessia, trying to line up some damage. Valet forced to trade out the dispersion, but Malediction is going to be soaking up all of that healing. Great usage there by Zuniaki. Lontar still didn't have to trade out his trinket, though. He's being very greedy, but that greed seems to be paying off.
Sometimes greed is good, and now Mercy finds himself behind enemy lines. He's actually taking some damage here. He needs to be careful. Ring of Fire is going to come out, but he will catch a nice little riptide there, and now he will feel confident enough to push forward. He's got the Necrolord banner active right now. Big pressure potential here for Mercy. Chaz mana not looking too well right now. Tessia, no Ice Block available, and this could be his cauterizer. Fighting Chaz, and it will proc, and that's the Siphon on him. Tessia almost going down right there, but he will cauterize, he will get the overgrowth and the iron bark. But now, the next time they connect, I am very afraid for him. Now, I think for Method, the best defense is more offense, but Mercy shuts it down immediately there with a nice war banner, but they kill it off. They get a full cycle onto Lontar here. Big pressure onto Mercy, but he's not even going to use his Die by the Sword here. And now Tessia realizing he needs to just stall for about a minute when he has that Ice Buff coming back off cooldown. So he's just going to try to run for it. But Mercy, if he can keep up now, there's no Iron Bark. This next Stormbolt could be deadly if they can find any crowd control onto Chaz. And they might just take down Tessia here with raw pressure, Sid.
Yeah, Reload are playing very aggressive in this matchup, but they're on the back foot. Lone Tar and a Polymorph, Mercy and a Dragon's Breath. Valet going to duck for cover in Fleshcraft and let Mercy do some of the heavy lifting at the moment with that Avatar, trying to finish the game. Chaz has Nature Swiftness. He's going to pop it immediately to recover. Tessia blinking further back, but Mercy is dispelled. Lone Tar is moving in aggressively to do damage as well. Zuniaki Master Spells Crowd Control, goes for a silence and tries to set up for the kill onto the Warrior. Mercy blocks it with Die by the Sword and should be allowed to stay aggressive here and push through the combustion. And if they can stay on Tessia, there's really nothing for 15 more seconds. He's going to have to get a really well-timed alter time, but if it's purged off, he's going to fall behind. His Ice Block actually just came off cooldown. Mercy goes into battle stance. He really wants to get aggressive. He's 10 seconds away from his next Necro Lord banner. Valet has Psyfiend available as well. Tessia drops a Ring of Fire to try and scare Mercy away, but Mercy is unafraid, pushing forward with Sharpened Blade on Tessia, trying to finish him off. He's desperate, dropping a defensive Ring of Frost to try and hold on to the Ice Block as long as possible, but he's pinned in center field, unable to really utilize it. Here comes the Necro Lord banner. Tessia hiding around his Ring of Frost to try and avoid Mercy as much as possible with the Soul Shape, doing an excellent job to avoid the Necro Lord banner pressure. Really good kiting by Tessia in that position.
Yeah, he did a really excellent job, and he avoided having to use that second Ice Block. Quite nicely done, trying to get crowd control onto Lone Tar and trying to get some damage rolling, but he gets interrupted. Whoa! There is the Ice Block, an unexpected amount of burst. That was a fear into a silence onto Chaz. Great crowd control there by Valet. Zuniaki trying to reverse the pressure. Full Polymorph on Lone Tar. Now Mercy could be in some trouble. There is the Trinket Spirit Link available, but Lone Tar actually does decide to make the trade. Reload Esports, they have momentum right now. They have Tessia on the ropes, and if they can continue this push, they might be able to take him down. So I think trading out those defensive cooldowns, trying to continue the aggression, is certainly the right move, and it could pay off. Chaz might have to trade up the Nature Swiftness, but after that, there's really not much left in terms of defensive cooldowns for Method EU.
There's a Psyfiend on the Mercy. They got a big CC chain. Lontar has no trinket. Mercy's being greeted with the Die by the Sword. I don't know if that's going to be enough. That was very late, but he does catch a nice Shadowman there by Valet. That Mercy almost going down. You can see Waz here just watching and shaking in his boots. He knows if they lose this series, they are out. And the same thing, of course, goes for Reload as well. So everybody really needs to do their best right now. They got the Rock Elemental available and active here on Tessia, doing tons of damage. Chaz has no mana left. This is potentially the final push here. Defensive Fear coming out from Mercy. Nice Master Spell coming out from Valet. Is it going to be enough? And they CC Lontar any longer? It doesn't look like it. And it looks like Tessia now will be running back here, trying to build some more distance between himself and Mercy. The defensive Ring of Fire here once again. He's going to rebuff behind the pillar, just trying to catch his breath here for a second. But Chaz, he has completely ran out of mana. He's got nothing to work with. He needs to find a drink immediately, and they need to try to cross the map, and that's exactly what they're setting up to do here. Chaz needs to find some mana here, and Tessia just needs to stay alive on his own somehow. Zuniaki needs to be kind of the tank for the team, but you get Chaz to get
Necro Lord banner.
Was able to get a little bit of mana, and now the Necro Lord banner.
Oh my!
Mercy, big pressure onto Tessia. Nature Swiftness is going to come out. Chaz is so happy he got just a little bit of mana. Panda Racer coming out though onto Chaz into the full fear. Tessia now with the soul shape running away here to the opposite side of the map. Full Hex onto Zuniaki. There's a too far away to dispel it. Going for a sheep, but Mercy Blade Storms it just to get a little bit more uptime. And I think this game, it could very, very well be over soon. Valet gets forced into the dispersion. He trades it up very early, and now potentially here trying to set up a new CC chain onto Chaz, but I don't know how Method are going to bring this back. Mercy has his CDs back, and he was really their only pressure point.
No, Valet down to half health. He can't afford to throw the game. If he gets interrupted here, it's going to be game over. But Psyfiend is actually farming him at the moment. He can't heal through it. He's going to trinket and fade and duck around the corner. Not killing that Psyfiend is still getting value on Valet right now. He's managed to recover. He's going for Void Eruption. He wants to get aggressive on Tessia. They fear Chaz, but he pre-Iron Barks it. They're going to have to attack Chaz instead, but I don't think they're going to kill him through bear form. Tessia drops a ring of fire to try and scare Mercy away from pushing behind the pillar. Mercy wraps around the other side here. Tessia now in the Stormbolt. Big hit of damage. Cauterize just became available for him, though. Nature Swiftness for Chaz. That's the last heal of the game for him, likely. No Innervate, no mana left. Tessia's going to have to pull out a miracle with this next combustion. Where are they going to go? They need to win the game right now. They go for the combustion, but Lone Tar trinkets. He gets bashed on his trinket. A little bit more damage on Valet, but Valet line of sights. Mercy trades that by the sword, and he survives this combustion all in from Tessia. Now they just need to stay on top of the mage. Chaz has 0 mana left and burn him down. Mercy is going for the kill, popping the Warbreaker. This would be unbelievable to see Reload Esports take this. They've been struggling so much with Method throughout the entire season, if not the entire year, but they are the closest they've ever been. But Ice Block is coming up in 10 seconds. Tessia's on the run. His Cauterize triggers, and he is burning down. Chaz has 0 mana. They proc the Wild Seed. They just need to finish off this Wild Seed, and they will take game number 1, and they have done it. Reload Esports, against all odds, have done it, and maybe Horizon is starting to not feel so safe.
So much of this match just came down to the blind pick. Reload Esports, I feel like this was beautiful from them. Definitely winning the mind game, bringing in the Warrior, Shadow Priest, Shaman against the God Comp. Method was looking for the cleave. Unfortunately, they weren't able to find it, and now Reload Esports has set themselves up to potentially win this series.
Yeah, they're starting off strong, winning that game number 1. We're going to take a look at the replay, see how that all went down, but they kind of, I mean, really consistent throughout this entire game here, Zico.
Absolutely. And I mean, a lot of it is because of that uptime from Mercy. And I really like what they did at the end as well here. Valet is the only person who can die here. So Valet, he has a very defensive positioning here. They pop the combustion, they get the stun. And then here, Tessia actually swaps away from Valet because he can no longer reach him. He swaps to Mercy, and Mercy just immediately died by the sword. Trades it out very, very early. The Siphon is down, but the pressure from the Siphon is finally going to fade since they popped it on Valet and Mercy. Because he pops his cooldown so early, he gets to stay aggressive. He doesn't drop low HP and then he needs to run away and get heals. No, he pops them right away. He gets to stay in. He gets to have that uptime. And it really matters because if you look at Tessia's cooldowns here, he's got 10 seconds left for that ice block. So if Mercy gets forced away just for a couple of seconds and he runs away and needs to run back in, that's enough time for potentially for Tessia to stall out the game a little bit longer and maybe find a new opportunity to try to kill Mercy later. So definitely just about time that Reload managed to close that one out. And I think a lot of it is just they had beautiful uptime. I mean, look at Mercy, top damage. And they had the crowd control when they needed it. They had surprising amounts of damage. It looked like they had a good game plan heading into this matchup, and they won the blind pick. So Reload doing all the right decisions right now.
Yeah, most definitely. We're going to see if they can continue on in this fashion, see if they can get another victory here, and then they're going to be in a really good spot within this series. But Method EU, they're going to be choosing their map, and that puts Reload Esports in a position where they have to blind lock in their composition. Subti, is in your mind what Reload Esports, obviously they, did a lot better than maybe we expected them to in game number 1. What were the differences?
I think matchup. I mean, this seems like Method EU probably want to run Rogue Mage Druid into the Shadow Priest Warrior Shaman, but they thought that Reload Esports would play Ret Warrior in game 1, which means they would rather play the Shadow Priest Mage. So in case of the blind pick, Reload Esports took it, but they have also lost to Shadow Priest Mage as well with this. But Reload Esports played a different strat. They just played all out aggression. They ran on top of Method EU, and this is something that I don't think we've seen them do, and it looked so much better. It just seemed like Method EU could never get away, they could never get a break, they could never get a drink, and Reload Esports just played aggro on top of them and ran it all the way to a victory. And I like that they just made clean calls. It was, okay, they've got a good setup, somebody's going to trinket, let's make sure we don't overlap, and they just made clean defensive calls, which allowed them to stay on top of Method EU, and they could just overrun them. So now Method EU, they're going to switch to Rogue Mage Druid for this matchup. I think they were also thinking, like, Shadow Priest Mage, it will beat Ret Warrior easily, and it can also beat that, so we'll just do that blind pick. But now, how does Reload Esports deal with this? Because the last time they met this composition, Lone Tar got just trained the blue into the ground, and he wasn't able to survive. So does he have any surprises? Does Reload Esports have something for Method EU here? Because I think, for all intents and purposes, did anyone predict Reload Esports to make it through this? Because I don't think anyone did. But they're showing potential now, and having won that blind pick was very important.
To make it through the series?
even through the series, let alone the
Yeah.
whole tournament, but even through the series, I feel like they were kind of the underdog because they've been struggling with Method EU and Skill Cap basically the whole year.
Yeah. Well, they clearly put a lot of work into it, so I'm curious to see how they're going to respond to this comp swap from Method EU. We can take a look at the stats that they've got as well, but Method EU, they had that little dip in like performance and I guess results then in the last circuit, but they've really stepped it up a notch here this season.
Method EU, I feel like they've been so consistent for a long time. Honestly, like I feel like this might. I'd have to double check, but if Method EU doesn't make it to the finals, I feel like that's something we haven't seen in maybe years
a long time.
At this point.
Yeah.
So it would definitely be very surprising, but it could be Reload that ends up knocking them out here in 4th place in this top 4. However, I feel like this composition swap I really like from Method. So bring in Waz on the Assassination Rogue. This is a composition they have used before. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised that they didn't lock this in on their blind pick, because when they played against Reload Esports last time, I think they ended up 3-1ing them or 3-0ing them with this comp. So definitely has a lot of potential. You have the lockdown from the Assassination Rogue. And I think this is going to be a lot more comfortable of a match for Method EU. Instead of being on the defensive and having to run away the entire game, they're going to be the team that's able to push the pace, go in, keep someone locked down, and try to catch some mistakes from Reload Esports.
Yeah, no, I was kind of referring to the season 1 circuit, where in those first couple of games for Method EU, they weren't able to get those wins, and then they just kind of quickly recovered and made it to the finals. And it's just the team that kind of always seems to bounce back and always stay in that first, second place position, like you were kind of mentioning. We can also look here at Reload Esports, and I don't know if you guys remember, you guys watching from home, when was it Mercy Zico that tweeted out those like big, like how they just like 5 head strategy, like all of their matches. It seems like they're just a really meticulous yeah, like their whole playbook.
Yeah. He showed us what was it, he had like some geographical like design of like the map, like, oh, if the mage goes here, Relay, you need to go here, I'm going this way, you're going this way, we're gonna cut him off and make sure that we get the max. They're probably still employing the strats from the playbook.
It was a warlock.
It was a warlock. Yeah.
Poor Warlock, man. Imagine you're a Warlock trying to get away from a Warrior, and they've just come up with a playbook to counter everything you can possibly do. Thought about it for hours. But that level of preparation can definitely end up paying off in tournaments. I mean, if it comes, think about it. You win game number 1, especially in a matchup like this where both these teams kind of have counter comms. If you can kind of just think about it, sit down, really prepare, and then you just get that little bit of a slight lead by winning on a grand, that can end up just winning you the series and keep you from elimination.
Yeah, exactly. We've seen it, many times before, even if a game goes to game 5, because these series are best of 5. A lot of the times the winner of that first match on the grand is going to determine the winner no matter what. Coming back from losing on the blind pick can be really difficult. You have to win that swing match. So, maybe we do see Method EU do it, but at the moment, Reload Esports looking strong, Soupties.
Yeah, it was a great performance in game number 1. Very important overall for the strategy of the series. If they win here in game number 2, I think they do it. I think this game alone could decide the entire series, because if Rogue Mage Druid isn't an option for this, and they get small maps against that Shadow Priest Mage, then I think Method EU is on lock. This is really where the pressure point is for Method. They can't afford to lose. They are in historically the best position because this comp has been farming resto shamans. What's interesting though is Method EU are the only ones who utilize this. We don't see it in North America whatsoever against someone like Golden Guardians or trying to run down shamans at all. Method EU are really the only ones that use Rogue Mage Druid to kill shamans the way that they did against Reload Esports. So Reload Esports might not have the most amount of practice either. It's not like Rogue Mage Druid is the most prevalent composition either. You're usually playing it with a priest. So right now, this is kind of their test. If Reload Esports can manage to pull this off, then I think they make it through to Skill Capped. And Skill Capped have very similar compositions to Method. So if this Shadow Priest Warrior Shaman is up to par for Reload Esports, they might be making the run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were asked by D Machine yesterday to predict the whole bracket for him, and I think that all of our predictions are going to be wrong if Reload Esports wins this series here. But let's see what they can do on the side of Method EU, or is Reload Esports gonna go to match point?
Have to wait and see. Method EU bringing in Waz on the Rogue, the all-star. Let's see what he can do in this match. What target are they going to go after? have a few different options. They could focus on crowd control on Lontar and go after either the Valet or Mercy, or they could just get crowd control on the DPS and go after the healer, which is something we see Mage, Druid, Rogue do quite often. It looks like that's what they're going to opt to do. Just put as many silences with Garrote and kidney shots on Lontar, and then just spam Polymorph and Cyclone on Mercy and Valet so they can't really assist them. And eventually, you slowly get the cooldowns out of the way, and it's a great way to control the match as well. But looks like Reload Esports, they have a different strategy in mind. They're not going to get controlled, and they're going to be the team pushing the pace here onto Tessia and forcing him to actually play defensive here with this initial crowd control on Chaz.
Yeah, but nice wind shear there by Lontar. They broke, oh my goodness, they broke the Cauterize immediately there. Big chunk of damage coming out there. Chaz greeting the Iron Bark right there, but now finally combustion coming out from Tessia. They get the sheep onto Mercy. Big damage coming out. Nice lock on the Shadow Man. Do we have anything more? And there's going to be a Cyclone coming out here from Chaz. It's mastered by Valet. Now the Cyclone onto Valet. And Lontar, his Battle Master is going to drop soon. Waz got the Vendetta rolling. Nice. Spirit Walker's Grace right there by Lontar is going to give him that immunity to interrupt. Waz now re-channeling Fleshcraft, and Tessia and Chaz are already in kind of survival mode. Nope, they're just going to keep the chain going. They get a sheep onto Valet. It's a triple DR though, and they get the Cyclone onto Mercy. They do get the Master Spell there onto Mercy. He's going to get the Intervene onto Lontar, but they force out another cooldown there. They got the Ascendance. Before that, there was the Astral Shift. And the next kidney could be the Trinket here, Superfuse.
All right, let's see if they can close it out here. Tessia's not too comfortable, though, with Chaz and crowd control down at 50%. Mercy charges in, Dragon's Breath for a second, but they get Ice Block. This is an amazing position to be in as Reload Esports. If you are Method EU, you are the most terrified ever. This is a lower bracket round. If they lose 2 more games, they are going to be out of the top 4. Reload Esports against all odds, a composition that just completely aced them the last time they faced off against Method EU. They're in such a commanding position. They still have medallions on 3 players against Rogue, Mage, Druid. As long as they don't throw here, they should actually be able to close this one out with Trinket Spirit Link and Trinket assistance from the Warrior. I think that they've got this. Lontar is going to Fleshcraft and get aggressive, spamming out Purges. They're pushing for the kill. Tessia trying to retreat. Lontar in a kidney shot. Tessia can't do any damage. Mercy intercepts him with a Stormbolt. Lontar survives another kidney shot and is starting to get more aggressive towards Tessia. Valet's in position to crowd control Chaz. They just need to get a couple of Purges, Dispels, but a Shackles of Malediction. No one's stopping the Shackles on Lontar. A Mass Dispel from Valet.
Nice. Dispels
the Shackles. They get a Fear on the whole team. They're pushing aggressive onto Tessia. This was Valet's medallion out of the way. Still has Dispersion for a swap. Blind is coming up. How are Method EU going to navigate this? I don't think they can continue to play as aggressively as they are. Chaz is running out of mana.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really scary moment. Maybe they can drop, though. Lontar, he's incredibly low right now, using the Emblem as well as his Astral Shift and his Earthen Wall Totem, so he's low on health, but he basically has Divine Shield with all 3 of those active. Tessia, though, with this Combustion, getting out a lot of damage, but with no Ice Block, no Cauterize. Chaz has no Iron Bark. This is the moment. This is exactly what Reload Esports wants. They need to push forward, get the Dispels on Tessia, remove his Alter Time if he uses it, remove the Triune Ward. If they get all that off and push through that defense, this is a great opportunity. However, Waz, of course, does have his Vendetta, so there's a huge hit of damage available. He's still opting not to use it. There it is, a Siphon on Tessia as well. So both these players in trouble right now. Tessia, I would say, is on the back rope. Mercy's all over him. Can he actually take him down? A nice dismantle by Waz. Some of that extra rogue utility, slowing down that Warrior damage. And now they're reversing the pressure here on Lontar. And this Vendetta from Waz could be a nightmare for Reload to deal with.
Yeah, let's see it. Another Shackle coming out here. This has got to be Lontar's Trinket here. Surely he's going to sit it now. He will Trinket and drop the Spirit Link Totem, but he doesn't have any actual defense here. He doesn't have any damage mitigation. Mercy, though, coming out of Power Control, should have something for him if he needs to. And there it is. A nice Earthen Wall Totem, but Chaz drops the Iron Bark. He's sneaking away for a drink. They need pressure right now. Mercy needs uptime here. Waz going for the Fleshcraft. Delay looking for Chaz. Chaz doesn't get much mana at all, maybe a tick there, but his mana is not looking great. And there's no Iron Bark right now, no Ice Block here, and no Cauterize for Tessia, but Lontar also without cooldowns right now in this kidney shot, but he will survive. They're going after Chaz here. Big swap coming out from Reload to get the silence into the stun here. Nice disarm though onto Mercy, and that should be his cue, maybe potentially go back after Tessia. No, he fears up Tessia. 10 seconds left on his Trinket. They have the damage here, potentially take down Chaz. Chaz has got basically no mana left. Sharpened Blade coming out onto Chaz, but a nice Ursul's Vortex by Chaz will allow him to get away. And now the tables are turning. Lontar in a dangerous situation here. Kidney shot into the cheap shot, into another Garrote here, but he does get his Astro Shift. Is it going to be enough though? He combos it there. Big heals coming out now from Lontar with all of his cooldowns active. The Ascendance should be enough here for his team. But Chas now, once again, looking for the drink. Tessia again with the control. Can they keep going here? Or will Method get clotheslined by Mercy here?
All right, let's see if they can close it out here. Lontar into another kidney shot. Mercy intervening to assist and manages to survive, but Chas sneaks away and drinks. Any amount of mana in favor of his team is going to be more opportunities on the board to close this game out, but Necrolord banner activates, but Mercy gets baited behind the pillar, polymorphed out of line of sight. Lontar goes for a Fleshcraft, comboing with the Spirit Walker's Grace to prevent interruption, guaranteeing his immunity. Now rooting Waz and escaping. If Lontar gets a drink here around the corner and has mana to purge, it's going to overwhelm Chas. He's running away from Waz. He doesn't want to get sapped though. Does he have a bleed on him? He's got a couple of dots on him, but the dots are fading. Waz just goes in for the kill. He knows Lontar has basically nothing. Another kidney shot. Lontar, I think you got to trinket this, man. I think it's too greedy. He's trying to sit through. He trinkets a little bit late. He's trying to get back to his team, but he's separated far too far from Mercy. Mercy needs to get over here, intervene, buying Lontar a couple of more seconds. He gets gripped by Valet back into the corner. Now Tessia is getting blasted down by Mercy, but he's got Cauterize. He's got Ice Block. He has options to trade here. And despite the early advantage, Method EU are getting into a better and better position. Mercy needs to force Cauterize with this fear, try and get an Ice Block, at least something from them during this crowd control. They go for a Shadow Priest stun. They've got more follow-up. They've got to get Cauterize and block here. They're just not finding enough damage to get the cooldowns from Tessia and Lontar. He pre-healing Tide Totem, pre-earthened this kidney shot. He's going to take 0 damage, and no one had a trinket. That kidney shot could have been the end of the game for him if he didn't preempt it so well.
Ooh, there's the Ice Block. Chas, can he actually top him off? Master Spell, but a huge Triune Barrier from Tessia. Going to make him more than durable enough with the Ring of Frost on Mercy. Now getting aggressive. Lontar in a Garrote.
No trinket.
A kidney shot. Free Astral Shift. He free Astral Shift and he's still going to die. Gets taken down. Nice setup there by Method EU. Overwhelming damage. And Tessia and Chas, at a certain point in the game when they were scared, I mean, they just turned into pure defense, all crowd control, and it was really difficult for Reload to push through that amount of defense, and they just couldn't get anything done.
Method EU bouncing back, and now they're tied up, giving themselves another chance here to get themselves back in this series. It's now 1-1, best of 5, so it's continuing on. We saw Reload win game number 1, now Method EU game number 2. So I wonder then, Zico, if it's going to keep going in this pattern. Do we see Reload Esports winning game number 3?
Honestly, I feel like this series could go either way. I think maybe it won't even get decided by the blind pick here, but I could definitely see them swapping games like this. I feel like Reload had an excellent opportunity to win this game as well. They played really well, and it wasn't enough. Jess got away too many times, but if it was on a smaller map, I could definitely see them winning this matchup. And in addition to that, also, I feel like Method actually can beat Reload's Shadow Priest Warrior as well with their Shadow Priest Mage. So I really feel like it's unlikely almost to be decided by how the blind pick goes, because both of these teams can win on their, on their soft counter matchups. So it's really just going to come down to who plays it better. And honestly, I think Reload Esports, they played super well here, but so did Method, and especially Chas. He was able to get so many drinks, and Tessie as well. Built a lot of distance, had a lot of control onto Mercy here, and here at the end, Lontar gets the pre-Astro Shift, the Dragon's Breath, the Sheep, and the Astro Shift, I believe, actually ends in the stun lock right at the end there. No, it's actually still active. They just kill him through it all the way through. That rogue mage damage coming in there. I believe that was with the Tricks of the Trade as well. And the Combustion, Rune of Power, just every single modifier in the game. So yeah, it's a lot of damage.
Yeah, most certainly is. And now it is going to be, since Reload Esports did lose that last game, we're going to be seeing them pick their map. Looks like we are going to Hook Point. Do we expect them to change their composition at all, Supatis? Is that the best answer for them at the moment?
I don't think they'll blind lock Rogue Mage Druid on a map like this, but I guess they don't have any other option. Yeah, on a small map, what are their options? So now it's up to Reload Esports. Do they flip into Ret Warrior? For this, I think it would be a good map for it. It's not like they're going to have mind games from the Druid, right? So there's no priest to counter the Rep Paladin. We might see Mystic tagged in here for a game. And with that Rep Paladin assistance, the Shaman is probably not going to get tunneled down as easily. Although I feel like Lontar played an excellent game. Like, he had so many preemptive reads. It just seems like Astral Shift is not equal Combust and Vendetta. But they're actually going to stay with it. So Reload Esports, I think this is saying that they need to be able to beat the Shadow Priest Mage as well in the future. They're more confident in this overall than the Rep Paladin against Method EU. But that last game, it was so good. Maybe, again, Chaz got a couple of sneaky drinks. So on a map like Hook Point, if Chaz doesn't get those, Reload Esports could close this out.
Well, I think so much of the matchup, too, comes down to basically extending Mercy, right? Lontar quite often gets left behind because he has a rogue training him, so he gets stuck in kidney shots. And if Tessia and Chaz can isolate Mercy, drag him behind a pillar, and then get that crowd control that really sits, that's when the game, they start losing momentum. And that's what we saw during like the second half of that game, where they really couldn't, they already got cauterized, they already got ice blocked, but as soon as Chaz and Tessia just decided, we don't want to die, we're just going to run, then Mercy just couldn't take them down. So I think on the small map, that same result will be a lot more difficult for Method to pull off. And hopefully Reload Esports can stay together as a unit. Lontar can actually get the dispels on the warrior, and that's when they can actually push through and try to secure a kill.
So you think that it's Reload then, Ven, that has a better chance on this map?
I mean, yeah, I think that's why they picked it. They just want a smaller map, just to reduce the amount of area that Chaz and Tessia have to kind of run away and create space. And I think this is a good pick for them.
And we're going to take a look over at Tessia and his stats, and all he's played this year so far is Fire Mage. What is it specifically for all the mage players out there that's just lacking with Arcane and Frostbend this season?
Well,
just spill it out for me.
Well, let's do this. Let's talk about what's great about Fire. So the nice thing about Fire, and one of the reasons why it's so potent right now, is you have a lot of offense and defense with Dragon's Breath. So Dragon's Breath is a really good utility spell. You can use it defensively to set up like Ring of Frosts on melee, or stop casts, or also get crowd control on a healer. So you can just shimmer on top of a healer, use Dragon's Breath to get him in a polymorph. It just gives you a lot more control and options. Fire Mage also has a really great way of doing damage. So with your Combustion, you can spam out a lot of instant casts and get off a lot of damage. It's really hard to stop unless you have like a Purge or something like that. So those are the two main reasons why Fire Mage has kind of been the more popular spec.
And we see Tessia really shine on that spec as well. Sorry, Zico, go ahead.
No, it's all good. Let's get it. Lontar right now in a cheap shot into a kidney shot. Ring of Fire is surrounding him, and it burns. But Lontar will walk out of that one and actually not trade a single cooldown. So he's in a pretty good spot overall, but Waz is just trying to build up his damage here, trying to stack up his bleeds and everything. And they're just trying to get rid of some of those micro CCs potentially here, poking up the Fleshcraft. Get a disarm here onto Mercy. Big pressure on Tessia actually. Chaz though has the Iron Bark to work with, and there it is, Sheep onto Valet, and now here comes the pressure. Mercy gets Sheep shotted. Big damage onto Lontar. Chaz looking for the Cyclone here, and Mercy actually reflects, but Chaz does fake it there. Nicely done, and now Stormbolt and Tessia. Big pressure coming out with a rock element that actually stuns Tessia on his trinket. So good pressure coming out so far from Reload. And so far, I would say the map is looking good for them, Sid.
Waz went sub. Why did Waz go Subtlety? He's playing Subtlety in this matchup. He's trying to go for a huge hit of damage here on Lontar during the kidney shot, but not really even tickling Lontar here during the stun lock. Now he gets out, dispelling Mercy, getting aggressive onto Tessia, really bringing the aggression. I like this from Reload Esports. Even though this is the top 4 elimination series, they know their win condition is staying right on top of Method. They have to push through the pain, face their fears here if they want to make it through all the way and take this championship. And they're still trying to stay on target, but Tessia is avoiding Mercy pretty effectively here, dropping a Ring of Frost, trying to pin the whole team. Dragon's Breath onto the Warrior. The Disorienting Roar actually puts Mercy on Polymorph Diminishing Return. So now Mercy should be able to assist Lontar. And Tessia is struggling. He's now at 10%. Mercy goes into battle stance. He'll be able to intervene if he needs to. I think they're giving up on the Shaman. It's just not going to work as Subtlety in this matchup. They're maybe going to look for a blind on the Polymorph. They're switching to the Shadow Priest. Not sure right now. Method EU seem a little bit lost, and the longer they spend trying to find their target of their strategy, Chaz is running out of mana faster and faster.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, things aren't looking too good for Method, but honestly, at the beginning of the last game, they weren't looking too good either. So we'll just see how much they can end up getting control. They're slowly getting cooldowns out of the way. Well, not really. They haven't really gotten too many cooldowns. They got the Astral Shift, but still with Trinket and stuff like that, Lone Star is going to be feeling pretty safe. Tessia just has really not been able to do anything in this match. He's just running and hiding as much as he can. The Warriors just been all over him. There's been a lot of pressure out. Lone Star trying to connect, and this is the opportunity. They can get stuns when Lone Star's in the middle of the map. They're actually maybe going for someone else. Nice fake there by Valet on that Master Spell. So Tessia, he goes for the Polymorph on Lone Star with an interrupt on Valet. Gets the Polymorph, gets faked on the interrupt. And unfortunately, the Master Spell lands anyway, and now it's actually going to be him that's in trouble. But at the same time, Kidney Shot on Lone Star. Big damage coming in from the side of Method EU. Reload Esports might be feeling a little bit scared, but not too much. Now Mercy is going to be using his offensive cooldowns, try to get something going, but a Shadowy Duel from Waz is going to slow down that damage. So maybe just going for the Shadowy Duel plays as the line of thinking with subtlety, but his ability to just train down Lone Star and create pressure that way is greatly diminished as the specialization. They're going to have to go for a big one-shot. This could be it. Big combustion, and Lone Star is forced to use the Ascendance to try to catch up on healing.
I'm not really a big fan of the sub, but since it is a blind lock for them, maybe it's just a better overall matchup if they do face the Red Warrior as well, and maybe just gives them more control against the Red team. So it might be their best pick here overall. However, I feel like I don't know, they just lack that punch that Assassination has, but we'll see. We have seen sub-rogues extend, the game with incredible CC change, Kidney Shot into Sheeps and things like that. And also with long lockouts, with Shadowy Duel one-shots. They have some ways to win the matchup here. We'll see what Waz decides to do right now. Looks like he's just going to go after Delay a little bit, just trying to slow him down with his damage. Actually drops him kind of low here. Tessia does have the Iron Bark to work with, Master Spell coming out. And Belay might be their new target here to get a disarm onto Mercy. Do you get any crowd control onto Lontar? That is the question. Tessia is moving in. Look at the Dragon's Breath here, potentially full route onto Mercy. Tessia looking for the Sheep here onto Belay, actually. Doesn't look like he will find it. Lontar deflects it. And now full Kidney Shot onto Lontar. Sheep Shot onto Mercy, potentially into a Cyclone here. Siphon, though, rolling onto Tessia. He's going to kill that off. Lontar's going to drop to about 50% and then run away once again. I feel like unless they have that combustion, they really don't have enough kill pressure on the side of Method EU, and I think overall Reload Esports are pretty happy with this.
Yeah, we've yet to really see Waz be a significant threat on the Subtlety Rogue. Lone Tar keeps preempting a lot of these attacks, though, so credit to Lone Tar getting these defensive cooldowns, but he doesn't find one here for this Kidney Shot. This is Combustion. The entire team is controlled. Lone Tar triggers, and with a split second, barely gets the Spirit Link off to stabilize his team, but Combustion is still roasting him as he desperation line of sights Tessia, dropping the healing tide. Now Tessia on the back foot. Mercy with a beautiful punish, putting him in the back foot and forcing Ice Block. Master Spell, they want to close this game out. Lone Tar with no medallion is a 2-minute window for Method EU. If they can't close this out in the next 2 minutes, I don't think they ever will, but they're running out of cooldowns as well. A Quaking Palm onto Chaz. The Pandas coming in clutch right now throughout this entire tournament this weekend. Will Tessia or Lone Tar fall first? A double value Ring of Frost. Lone Tar dispels Mercy so that he can intervene. Good usage of that, providing him some redirected damage, but he's struggling to heal through the damage. Waz is looking to close this game out. A couple more hits and Lone Tar will fall. The Astral Shift's way too late, but he goes for a Fleshcraft on 1% and manages to stay alive in the fight. But Shadowy Duel, Shadow Blades, everything is up for Waz. He can go for the Omega one-shot. He's swapping to the Warrior. Mercy has to trinket and die by the sword. And at any point here, Waz can go for a Shadowy Duel aggressively. I think he might just use it defensively, though, on Mercy in a moment. Tessia is about to go down. They dismantle Mercy, removing his axe for a few more global cooldowns. But Mercy's just going to take that time to Fleshcraft and then start to get aggressive. But with no medallion on the Warrior, no medallion on the Shaman, Waz can just pick his target.
Waz actually wasted everything, I feel like, going after Mercy. He used his Shadowy Blades, he used his blind. They could have just set up a blind on Mercy and then do Shadowy Blades on Lone Tar. I think that would have been a lot more effective, but let's see if they can still make something happen. Tackles of Malediction going to be landing here on Lone Tar. At the same time, though, Waz getting chopped up a little bit. He could be in trouble, but with his Cloak of Shadows and his evasion, has more than enough defense to survive. Mercy leaps over, continuing the assault here on Tessia, but all this defense makes it really, really difficult. Nice evasion there by Valet on that Dragon's Breath. Bash into Cyclone on Mercy. Kidney Shot on Lone Tar. See what he's going to do. Valet going for a Master Spell to try to free Mercy from CC, allow them to get something going. Lone Star is just in a 1v2 right now, just trying to survive. Big combustion from Tessia. Lone Star finally gets out of line of sight, drops Healing Tide Totem, and ultimately will be able to hold on. But dampening is going nowhere but up for both these teams. Chaz is almost completely tapped on mana. There's still no Ice Block from Tessia, so one nice setup here from Reload Esports. One overwhelming hit of damage. There's the banner. This could be it. A huge Mortal Strike. Tessia goes from 100 to 50 to 20, trying to run away. Cheap shots from Waz, just going for some additional peels. And the Subtlety Rogue does definitely excel at that, helping out his mage. But once this dismantle is over, I really want them to go back after Tessia here, but seems like maybe they found a new target in Waz.
Yeah, Tessia's going to have his Ice Block rotating back up, so they have about a minute to get through the Cauterize and the Ice Block. Let's see if they can do it. Mercy trying to find his way back up, but oh, he is so mad about that Nova right there. Tessia manages to drag him away a little bit, get the Frost Nova, and line of sight him on that Stormbolt while Lontar is in the Kidney Shot. But as a result, there is no real threat in that Kidney Shot, and Chaz has actually managed to get a little bit of mana. Waz has no defensives left, so Waz is definitely a juicy target right now. He could get the Cauterize on Tessia, and then he probably has Ice Block again. So I actually think Waz might be the better target if they're going for a kill. However, if they're going for a strategy where they just want to keep slowing down the game, keep running Chaz out of mana, then of course it's going to be better for them to continue their push on Tessia. Mercy with a nice intervene here on the setup. Lontar gets the Earthen Wall Totem, which means that he should be completely fine here. Tessia, though, with the combustion is still ripping in with a bit of damage, but Mercy now going to be running at him like a Terminator, trying to get some uptime there. Tessia's just running around the pillar, just line of sighting him, not letting him slow him. Lontar finally roots him, and that's going to allow Mercy to reconnect there. Chaz in a full fear. This could be Reload's push here. Lontar pre-Ghost Wolf's Kidney Shot here. Waz killing off the Healing Tide Totem in the backline there. You have to use his whole Shadow Dance to kill it there in the backline, but does get it down. And now, once again, Tessia with no combustion. Everybody on Reload having their trinkets. The only thing Method can really do is set up a go here and then have Chaz go for drinks. But right now, Waz with Shadowy Duel there. It's going to, I believe, duel and then Shadow Step Chaz and get a restuff off of that. Now he's going to step back in, do some fancy work here. Gets the Fury on Racial Delay, grips Lontar there on the Ring of Fire. There's a Tricks of the Trade onto Tessia, and Lontar will respect the damage here, trading out his Astral Shift. So things aren't looking too bad for Method. Despite the small map, they have been able to actually get some drinks here. And this is the swing match. If they win this, Reload are going to be in a very, very difficult situation if this goes to a game 5.
Reload really can't afford to lose here. Mana is running down to its absolute limit here for both sides. Shackles of Malediction around the corner by Waz, trying to close the game out onto Lontar. Mercy and Valet are trying to make their way around the corner. Mass Dispelling Crowd Control and landing a double fear, stalling the fight, and Chaz has hit absolute rock bottom. 0 mana remains for him. His last Nature Swiftness likely of the game. If Mercy gets uptime, they force Ice Block, they shatter it. Kidney Shot on the Shattering Throw, Cheap Shot on Valet. There's no Mass Dispel. Lontar stops Chaz's drink though, but he had to push up aggressively. And now Shackles are coming in. He gets stunned on his trinket and KO'd. And Chaz with the epic drink bait manages to get his team a win out of nowhere.
Look at his face. He looked shocked at the end there.
It was over for them if they didn't win. Right there.
Yeah. Wow. Man, that is really unfortunate. Reload Esports was in a really good position there. They won that blind pick in game number 1. However, Method EU has won the swing match. They've completely turned the series around in their favor, Super Tees.
I swear stopping to drink is always a bait. I've never, like, even myself, like, oftentimes in games, I'll be like, I'm not going to stop drinks because there's always something that bad that happens. Like, look at Reload Esports. I feel like Method EU literally got Lontar's trinket one time this entire game, and that was the only trinket. But then when the game ends, all 3 players of Reload Esports trinketed, but it was way too late. Like, they were just right on the finish line, right about to win. They have like every single option, and Method EU just sneak in with this little play. Like, Reload Esports are thinking like, oh, we're about to win. Everyone's dead. We just got Ice Block. They just had to Cheap Shot and ring defensively. Like, there's no way that we're going to lose this game. And I think it's right here. Valet and Mercy, they Mass Dispel everything off the whole team. Lontar easily is going to survive this. And they're thinking, all right, this is over. Chaz has 0 mana. Tessia goes into Ice Block. There should be no way at this point that we're not winning this game. We have slightly more mana. But look at Chaz. He sneaks away in the corner. Lontar's like, I got to stop this. I got to stop this. And Waz is like, no, we're going to stop you. Cheap shot, cheap shot, cheap shot, dead. And Valet and Mercy are like, yo, you left us back here, Lontar. We can't. I don't know. That was like such a tough call to make, right? Like Lontar's thinking like his whole team has trinket. There's no way we die right now. I'm just gonna stop the drink, right? There shouldn't be a problem with that. And
they said
they lost the game.
Oh my goodness. Well, Method EU, now they are on match point 2-1 in this best of 5 series. How difficult then is it going to be for Reload Esports to recover in your mind?
Well, they definitely can with just how close these games are. I mean, the last 2 games, it definitely felt like Reload Esports had their fair shot in it in the game. And honestly, that last game felt like it was their game to win. So unfortunately, with a bit of mispositioning, they weren't able to actually pull off a win. And Lontar kind of threw with his positioning, but you can get baited quite easily, like Subati said. So I don't think the series is over. Method EU, obviously, they have some momentum right now, but I mean, you could see Waz's face in the camera, like what his expression says it all, you know, letting out a huge sigh of relief that they were actually able to pull out victory. That being said, though, I really like the Rogue Mage Druid. I think it's a way better option for them than the Shadow Priest Mage Druid. So I feel like for Method, they can just stick with this the entire time. And maybe, just maybe, we see Reload tag in Mystic. Bring in Mystic on the Retribution Paladin, play the Cleave setup, see if that wins. But I would not be sad, and I would not lose confidence if they decided to keep playing that matchup, because they can definitely win it.
Yeah, they also had some insane moments of survivability where they managed to keep their team alive in that last game, Zico.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just a story with Chess, right? This guy is always finding the perfect opportunity to sneak away. He's dropping the Iron Bark, and then he's just running away. And, Waz on that sub-rogue, able to just control everything, set up the stuns, and Tessia, he needs to control everything and make sure that he just stays alive during those moments. And every single time they can do that, that's when they can extend the game and find more opportunities to one-shot. And that's always the thing, right? When you're playing the Rogue Mage, most of the time, you're the team that's like on the timer. If the game goes on too long, you're going to lose. So having, a healer who knows how to find those opportunities and kind of extend the game for you just allows you more opportunities to actually one-shot something, just allows you to make more mistakes and kind of get away with it a little bit. But of course, it's a team effort as well. The whole team has to play defensive while that's going on. And sometimes we see it backfire as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we got a full draft on our hands. Like we said, we are going to a Blackrock Hold. How does this game look, Supatis, if you're on the side of Method EU? What do they want to be doing?
I mean, making it into dampening and getting drinks, I think, is important. Once they're in dampening, it seems like the Shaman takes way more damage. But actually just separating Lontar from his team is what won the game. So Chaz going for drinks more often just to separate them, I think, is going to be very important for Method EU to find victory here.
You want to give us a cow metaphor, Zico, for that one, or are we over that?
I don't have one right now for this matchup. This matchup, it's I think it's just one of those secret matchups, so I'm not sure. But if there is a cow metaphor, I will definitely bring that to you, Aya.
All right, sounds good.
Man. It's so rough. It's happened 2 games in a row where Reload Esports, it feels like they have so much pressure on Tessia, but as soon as Tessia doesn't want to die, he's able to just run and just basically play to live instead of play to kill until someone overextends. So right now, Lontar could be taking a huge hit of damage, but the Grounding Totem and the Ascendance should be enough. This is a combustion. Let's see if Lontar can hold on. A bit dicey here, but the damage has subsided, and it looks like the Rock Elemental will be used. So Lontar using an offensive legendary here, trying to bolster the damage of his team in the early stages of the match. This is going to be the Necrolord Warbanner as well, but a medium kidney shot. So one thing I will say about Waz being on subtlety is he has been much more annoying for Mercy. When Mercy actually wants to get aggressive, he's just getting stunned, he's getting dismantled, he's getting re-stunned, and it becomes really, really difficult for them to actually take him down. And maybe a bit of a target change here for Reload Esports going after the Rogue. Perhaps a little bit more in the match, as it's just been so difficult for them to take down Tessia.
Yeah, and we'll see if that sub-rogue ends up buying them enough time to get that one shot. Ooh, they just get Lontar's Trinket there with that setup. Very nice here for Method. They're going to have that combustion available as well in 40 seconds. Whereas his Shadow Blades rolling, that next kidney shot actually could be very, very deadly here. They got the double Ring of Frost here. Chaz going for the early Cyclones. He's trying to Cyclone the Trinket. The Shackles are coming in onto Lontar, but he gets a beautiful Fleshcraft there. Nobody around to interrupt it. And that's going to mean that Lontar should potentially survive here because he doesn't have his combustion as well. So They're going to instead have to wait and try to do this again. But the problem is there's a big, beefy warrior with intervene ready to stop that kill setup that Method are trying to set up. But the next time they get that CC chain, could potentially mean the game here for Reload if they don't respond appropriately. They got the fear on the chest, but now it is Method's turn to get aggressive. Waz is there. The pre-Earthen Wall totem. Lontar gets gripped into it. This could be it, but that's it. With the late combustion, here we go. There's going to be Mercy's trinket into the intervene like I was talking about. And they're at least going to force that one off the checklist. Lontar's taking a lot of damage, though. Might have to respect this and trade out the Astral Shift here as well. No, he's going to get saved by the Fear of Mercy. Hold on to his personal cooldowns. And that's going to be a big win, though, for Method. Getting that trinket means they could also potentially take down the Warrior in a shadowy duel.
All right, let's see if they want to set that up in the near future. They also have Blind. They could just Blind Warrior and go after Lontar and get a free go with no Intervene and no Warrior utility. I think that they would absolutely KO Lontar. Lontar's trying to preempt the attack. He pre-Astral Shifts, but they haven't launched the attack. And here's the Blind. There's the full kidney shot. Is Lontar going to be able to survive? They edge the Ring of Fire to avoid the Blind, but he gets feared on the cheap shot. It buys Lontar a global cooldown. That Psychic Scream from Valet came in very clutch for his team right there. Even though it was only a millisecond of crowd control, it bought a global for Lontar to survive while his Warrior was sitting through a full blind. Very clutch play from Valet. Now Lontar will have his medallion to trade for the next incoming combustion. Valet is doing his best to try and get Waz away from him, but he just can't. Double stun lock, triple stun lock, everyone in crowd control. Mercy is free for a moment here, but he doesn't have much, and Lontar is just taking so much damage just to drop Spearling Totem before the combustion, but now Tessia on the back foot. If Mercy connects Necrolord Banner here with Warbreaker, he could easily close the game out if Tessia doesn't respond. Maybe a swap. He goes for Warbreaker. Waz goes for Dismantle, but it was maybe a bait with the Necrolord Banner coming up in a moment. Mercy wants to make sure he doesn't get dismantled or crowd controlled on it. He might even have to go for an aggressive dive by the sword if he wants to net this damage, but combustion is up. They've got a Shadow Dance. Waz is going in for the kill. It's match point here for Reload Esports. They face elimination. Can they cut through the Fleshcraft? They're cutting through the Fleshcraft at the moment. Lontar is struggling to survive, but denies the kill once again.
Oh, goodness gracious. That was a huge amount of damage coming in from Method EU. Once again, though, Chaz finds himself in a situation where he really doesn't have too much mana. Valet actually tap targeting Chaz, trying to just get damage out of all three members. And maybe this is a strategy Reload Esports could try to implement. Just pressure everyone. Go after Waz, go after Tessia, go after Chaz. Anyone you can hit them and force them on the back foot. Because now Waz is actually overextended. He needs to be careful. And I kind of like this strat. It really keeps them guessing instead of just going after the mage. He's very tanky. They do get cauterized. There's the Triune Bear, just the second too late there. Would have ended up saving him that cooldown, but Reload Esports is going to be happy to grab that cheap death effect from Tessia, and Chaz actually managed to sit down for a drink. So not the worst trade. He got about 35% of his mana back for the cost of that cauterize, and it's not a bad trade to make as you're just entering dampening. You definitely want to have a little bit of mana to work with.
Lontar actually dropped down his healing tide there, and Waz was able to kind of snipe it off in the corner. And here comes the next setup. Dragon's Breath, Dash, Cyclone. Here comes the damage. Tessia going for a Ring of Frost onto Lontar as well on his Astral Shift. You're going to swap the CC chain. He swaps it to a Ring of Fire now, but they don't have any stuns for Lontar, so I don't think Lontar is actually going to take too much damage here, even though it looks kind of fancy. And Method, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board a little bit. But these setups where they don't commit the combustion, they're not really meant to be the kill setups. They're just meant to bait out some early cooldowns, try to fish for a trinket. And then we saw their big setups with the tricks of trade combustion. That's when they like to try to just one-shot Lontar and see if they can do it. Mercy has trinket once again, and now it's going to be Tessia on the back foot.
Here it comes.
Rock has been called in. Here it comes. Combustion available for Tessia. He's not going to pull
Earthquake.
the trigger. Will pull the trigger, but he got Earthquake. Yeah, I thought it was a wind shear first, but he actually got Earthquake there. Lontar wasn't a stun, obviously. We couldn't do that. And that was the best Earthquake in the game right there. Dwayne the Rock coming in very, very hot here as Reload are facing elimination if they lose this one. So he's definitely stepping up as well here, Sid.
Lontar needed that. He had no Earthen Wall. He had no Astral Shift. Waz is now on the back foot. Tessia is as well, but Chaz got a drink. Can he recover off the back of that drink? Waz is getting aggressive, but that Rock Elemental is winning the game right now for Lontar. Waz is pushed back by the Rock Elemental. Cloak of Shadows has been forced by Dwayne as an Earthquake procs through it. Lontar is getting sick value out of this Earth Elemental right now, but mana is still in favor of Method EU. Lontar's trying to get ready for the next attack, retreating away from Waz, trying to duck around the corner, I would imagine here, maybe preempt the Fleshcraft. Mercy wants to do damage, but he's always crowd controlled on his cooldowns. Dismantled, but finally connecting Sharpened Blade. But now Frost Nova, Waz is pushing in. Lontar, what are you going to do? Pre-Fleshcraft on the incoming attempt from Waz, but I think Waz baited it. He hasn't committed his Shadow Dance just yet, or Shadow Blades, but now he's rooted in the room. Chaz dispels Waz. Waz goes for a re-stealth. Lone Char's in a Ring of Frost, holding him in place. Cheap shot and Valet, preventing any mass dispels, but a pre-Earthen Wall Totem by Lone Tar is absorbing a lot of damage during this stun lock. It was a good read by Lone Tar once again.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, Lone Tar has honestly been playing this series phenomenally so far. Besides that last game, giving up his position just a little bit. The way he's traded his cooldowns it's been quite great to see. Chaz actually going up in mana once again, able to sneak away for another drink. And let's see, Mercy kind of struggling to find his target. They've gotten some pressure on Waz this game, which is a big difference from the last two. In the last two games, they've basically just gone after Tessia as much as they can, but I think throwing that curveball, going after all three targets, definitely not a bad option. Kidney shot on Lone Tar. Mercy's just going to play on top of Waz. Just try to chop him up a little bit as that warrior. Cheap shot now, but Lone Tar taking basically no damage. Line of sighting Tessia. It's going to be really, really difficult for them to actually solo take down the Shaman if they all can't connect at the same time. Mercy gets dismantled on his damage as he charges forward, but once again, Tessia, when he's afraid, he's able to just run away. Here's a soul shape, but Mercy's still there. Can he connect? Gets out of line of sight once again, and it looks like Reload Esports is unable to get the ice block from Tessia, but Chaz does have to burn through a lot of his mana. We're at 20% dampening right now. Both these healers are getting a little bit unstable. Waz actually going for kidney shot, and they get the trinket. Big damage incoming here from the side of Method EU, and they have to trade out in a huge way. And he might just die through Astral Shift, through Ascendance, trades out the trinket, basically trades out everything he has in order to survive. And Method EU is going to be very happy about that one.
And Waz going to Shadowy Duel Mercy here, and then go for the re-stealth. Mercy now looking to get potentially crowd control again by Tessia, but he forces the ice block there as they get the sheep. There's a massive spell coming out from Belay. This setup is not too clean, but they do get the re-CCs here.
Triple
nice
fear.
Disarm by Waz as well. Triple fear coming out here from Mercy. He's got the Necrolord man. Actually, he's got the Avatar active. He's got the Stormbolt ready. He Stormbolts Chaz this time instead of Tessia here. And that's going to allow Tessia to actually play the game for a little bit. Chaz now in a silence. Tessia rotting down to Belay's pressure, but he's going to blink into the room, shifting power, reset his blink with that. Lontar now pushing in with no trinket. I'm getting flashbacks from last game here. Ring of Fire available. Mercy panics in, leaps with the intervene immediately. He is not having that again, but it might actually go down. And Lontar here dropping quite low, has straight out the Earthen Wall as well. And this is all the defense before the combustion. The next kidney shot more or less has to close out the match for Method here. Tessia now forced to use his trinket defensively, show shaping back away from Mercy as Chaz is sitting through that crowd control. Chaz needs to go for a drink here, but they're going to play to win instead. This is the setup. There's the tricks of the trade. Panda onto Waz. They don't have the lockdown. Waz trinketing, gets the master spell there from Delay onto Lontar, and Chaz realizing this setup is not going to kill. He needs to go for the drink immediately here. He's sitting down in the room right now, getting some ticks. Tessia on the opposite side here, just spam sheeping Mercy. Going for the invis here right now, Tessia, but Mercy's going to leap in, stun him in the room. Chaz is very far away. Chaz actually is running in stealth because Valet is trying to clothesline him with that silence into fear combo. They get the silence. Chaz trinketing out here. Here comes the setup. They get the cyclone onto Mercy, but it's DR. Tessia going for the Ring of Frost. Doesn't manage to land it. Mercy's there now with the intervene and with the damage here. Fear onto Chaz. No trinket. Waz going to be the target of choice. He's got evasion rolling here. It's going to be enough. Tessia blinks in. Dragon's Breath. Double Frost Nova.
Oh, these shadow steps.
Like Reload. It looks like Reload and Waz will survive to fight another day. And it's actually Chaz who has the mana lead right now. So
well, look who it is. Look who it is. MVP Rocky right now. Start cueing the music right now for the Rocky theme. Lontar's got the Earth Elemental out, but he's caught in a kidney shot on match point. Trinket Link, the last line. Mercy Trinket intervenes to try and protect him. These Earthquakes on Waz, buying him time. Chaz has a little bit more mana than Lontar. They drop a Shadowy Duel, trying to kill Lontar, but Lontar just refuses to die. Mercy and Valet need to do the most amount of damage they've ever done if they want to win this game. Lontar has 0 mana remaining. He sneaks in a Fleshcraft around the corner. He is praying that his team and the Rock Elemental can kill something, but Mercy gets blinded with no trinket. Lontar gets stunned up. How is he going to survive? He's just tanking the stun at the moment with Fleshcraft, managing to stabilize for now. And with Intervene available out of the stun, he should survive. And Mercy's on the back foot. The Proc Cauterize. Are they actually going to pull this off? They are battling for their tournament lives. Chaz gets Earthquake stunned on his way back to Tessia in the room. Valet is hunting them down. Lone Tar on the right side, Valet on the left. Mercy going after Waz, just trying to maximize his damage. Chaz getting Innervate value out the wazoo right now at the moment. Moves in and bashes Mercy, and this could be the game-winning setup if Lone Tar isn't careful. Shackles of Malediction stunned on his trinket, but he slips the Spirit Link through. And with that Spirit Link totem down, he should survive through this attack. Necrolord banner comes up in 9 seconds. I'd love to see Mercy just drop a dive by the sword aggressively on that. Go for the kill, try and close this game out. His trinket's going to come up before it would become a problem later on. They need to do something aggressively here. Waz gets stunned up. Mercy's trying to go for the kill with the banner. Drops a war banner preemptively and offensively for himself, but there's no trinkets. Lone Tar could die in the next stun. He pre-earthen walls. Mercy pushes Waz away. Waz is forced to vanish away from the fight. Mercy swaps to Tessia. Now they're stunned up, but Lone Tar pre-earthen. He pre-astral shift. Lone Tar has preemptively used everything against the universe to survive at this moment in time, but Combustion is still available. He could just get dropped without a stun here. He's got no more defense. Here comes a Combustion. Desia's pushing for the game-winning play, but Lone Tar Linus sights him around the corner and manages to survive. Defying death time and time again. Reload Esports. Unbelievable. Chaz is trying to recover Waz. Waz Shadow steps away. How is Waz still alive at this point? Dispelling off the dots. Running for his life, but a full polymorph on Lone Tar. Around the corner. Is Waz going to be able to stabilize? A bash defensively. Trying to just crowd control the whole team and maybe win here. Mercy, you've got to trinket this, right? There's no way. Full polymorph cheap shot. Trinket from Mercy. He's got Intervene. Waz is actually going to go down. Battle stance. He shadowy duels defensively on Lone Tar. Can Lone Tar kill Waz? The Lava Burst! The Lava Burst from Lone Tar on Waz. How is he alive? 1% health on Waz. Mercy leaps over. Mercy is the angriest warrior I've ever seen. That's the aggressive dive by the sword that I wanted to see from Mercy. Go for the kill. Reload Esports have done it.
They tie it up. Beautiful plays coming in from the side of Reload Esports. Lone Tar just looking invulnerable. Reading all of the stuns and trading out the cooldowns, allowing his team enough time to win, and it took 52% dampening to do so. So, I mean, that is a long road of these heads-up plays, trying to just get ahead of his opponent, but they do it. They managed to tie up the series, and we are, in fact, going to a Game 5.
Oh my gosh, for any, Blizzard editors looking to make a hype video, or just anyone making their own hype video on their own YouTube channel, please include the Mercy is the angriest warrior ever in that, because that is the funniest line I think we'll get all day from Supatees, but I'll let you analyze this replay, Sid.
I mean, just look at how is Waz alive right here? Like, time and time again, I'm just thinking, like, this is over. There's no way Waz is going to survive. But he's just the slipperiest rogue ever, just re-stealthing at 10%. And they're like, we're going to go for the kill, Waz, right now. We're going for it. I don't care about how low you are. I don't care about how high dampening is. We're going for the kill. But there's just not enough damage to back it up. And right here, I'm thinking, like, Waz should be dead. He shadowy duels the shaman. So Lone Tar is the only one that can see Waz. And Lone Tar's like, I got you, Waz. Lava Burst. I can't believe he didn't die to that. Like, right there, I'm thinking Waz is dead. Mercy comes out of blind. Mercy has had enough here. He died by the swords. He avoids dismantle this way, but still gets stunned. But it didn't matter. I think Lone Tar actually killed Waz. Lone Tar, man. I should have said Lone Tar is probably the saltiest player. He's got Waz riding him for 14 minutes straight. Every single go is into him. And Lone Tar is just like, get off of me. Lobs out lava bursts. And I swear, lava bursts actually killed Waz at the end of the game.
Yeah, that was intense. Now we are going to a Game 5. What a way to start off the day. This is still the first series, and we're already seeing this level of competition, and you can tell that both of these teams want it so badly. No one wants to get knocked out just yet, and we are bringing this all to a head for game number 5. And I just feel like if the rest of the day is going to go like this series has gone, Ben, we're in for a really exciting day.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. The thing is, it's do or die for these teams, right? So every single one of the series we're going to see today is going to be an elimination series. There's no second chances. If you don't perform today, you're not going to win. So going to a Game 5 on Tolveron, Reload Esports, once again, locking in the same composition. Method EU, they have some options. They could bring in Zuniaki. I wouldn't blame them, even though they've got both their wins with the Rogue Mage Druid. Not being able to get it done till 50% dampening, I mean, you really can't ask too much more of Chaz at that point, because he's having to deal with a warrior and a Shadow Priest just killing everyone on his team. He's somehow sneaking away and getting drinks. And if you can't reliably take someone down until 50% dampening, or even later as Method U, I feel like it's just not the great matchup. However, if they go back to the Fire Mage Shadow Priest, I think they actually can drag, create space, but they're not going to. They're actually going to go with the Assassination Rogue. So Method EU going with Assassination once again. I think it's actually better in the matchup. It's likely the reason why they had to go with the Subtlety is just because they didn't want to blind lock Assassination into the Retribution Paladin, which is something Zico had mentioned. So I think this is exactly what they want. And the fact that they won that swing match in game number 3 has given them this flexibility and advantage in game 5. So this could be Method EU walking away with a win here, but Reload Esports has been playing phenomenal. I think this is going to be a really exciting match.
Yeah, I mean, I no matter how this series ends, I'd like to personally apologize to Reload Esports. I did not think that they would be, going neck and neck to Method U like this. They've really put in the work. They've really put in the time to prepare themselves for this series, and they're really giving Method U a huge run for their money. You can see the stress on Waz's face right now, and they are not at all making it easy for them, Zico.
Absolutely, and it's like Ben mentioned, winning that game earlier was so important because now they don't have to play sub. I think a lot of the reason why those games were going into the 50-40% dampening is just because sub doesn't offer that much damage. It's mostly about the control. It's mostly about, the shadowy duels, if you go smoke bomb, the utility, with tricks of the trade and things like that. Whereas with the Asa, well, I guess Asa is the tricks of the trade actually, but with Asa, you just have consistent damage. You just kidney and the healer panics, So having the Asa in that matchup is going to be very nice for them. And they got the biggest map in the pool to do it. So Chaz, he's a kitten. He has a big sandbox to play in. So he's going to definitely be happy with that. And of course, Tessia and Waz here, they're going to have a lot of options in terms of positioning and resetting. And that's something that Rogue Mage, that's something they love to do. Kidney shot and then go for the reset. So we're probably going to see a lot of that. And this is a game where Lontar is going to be tested to the max. I feel like Lontar has been playing an insane series, just in general. He's had insane preemptive astral shifts and everything. But this is the matchup where he needs to play absolutely perfect. And they need to have somehow have good offense, good enough to shut down Chaz from drinking.
Yeah, can we talk about how well these healers are utilizing just everything they have to keep both of their teams alive? I feel like I've seen so many moments, Supatis, where it looked like all hope was gone, and then the healers were like, nope, here you go, here's some health for you.
Lontar is just predicting every stun, right? So as a healer against Rogue Mage, your cue that you're about to be stunned is your teammate gets put in crowd control. Because Method EU don't want to attack Lontar without Mercy already being in a polymorph or already being in a stun. So Lontar has to constantly be monitoring his teammates and assess, like, okay, they just crowd controlled the warrior with cheap shot. Is Waz near me? No. Okay, I don't need to preempt something. Is Waz able to shadow step me? Yes, I need to preempt something. So he's constantly calculating exactly when they have to start their attack to drop a cooldown. But then Method EU could also bait that, right? They could know that Lontar is monitoring that situation and say, all right, if we stun the warrior, we know Lontar is going to pop something. So we're not going to use anything. And then Lontar uses something, but nothing was traded. So he's left exposed. And that's where it gets really scary for him. So this is easily like the most stressful series you could play as a shaman, I think, on the side of Reload Esports. And he's going to have to deliver again. Against Method EU. And the thing is, on this map, Method EU will have more opportunities to keep that pressure high because Chaz will be able to drink. So this is going to have to be the most insane game played by Reload Esports if they want to make it through this. And that's not even the end of the road for them. Like, they got to fight Skill Capped, and Skill Capped play very similar compositions. Is Lontar ready for this? Like, it's just going to be game after game after game of 8 to 15 minutes of having to play like a god. Like, you're just absolute god mode. You know exactly what the other team is trying to do at all times for the entire day.
I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. Do you feel like then, Supatis, that healers have the most amount of mental pressure on them in these situations?
I think it depends on what matchup you're playing. There's definitely some matchups where as a healer, it's not going to be nearly as stressful. But in this specific situation, I think as Lone Tar, it is going to be very stressful. Melee cleaves can be pretty stressful as a healer. I think the most chill composition, if you wanted to play a healer, I mean, right now being a healer is just pretty intimidating because if someone activates their cooldowns, you can disappear in like a second. So you've got to always be on the edge of your seat. But some of the more chill comps, probably double caster as a healer, because you've got like Warlock Mage, for example, with spam Polymorph and spam Mage or spam Fear. Yeah, you can kind of just control the enemy team so the healer has more time to breathe. So the more crowd control, the better. It's going to be easier for a healer. But in this matchup, I mean, Chaz is going to start to get stressed more so as the game continues on. The main stress point for Chaz is drinking. He's got to balance keeping his team alive on one side and then sneaking away and drinking on the other. And if he isn't balancing that, he'll run out of mana and lose, or he'll drink and someone will die. And that's kind of where the pressure is for Chaz. I feel like it's a bit easier for Chaz overall. I don't know if, at least on a map like this, it's going to be a bit more relaxed for Chaz because stopping a drink is going to be so difficult. I mean, remember that one game where I thought Lone Tar was going to win and Chaz just snuck away and drank for like 1 second and Lone Tar's gone, just erased from the game. So I feel like it's a little bit more relaxed on Chaz's part with this matchup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know historically, if we look at the score right now, Reload Esports, they're up 2-2 against Method EU, which is huge because the last time that these two teams played against each other was in the circuit, and Method EU did win that 3-0. So we know that Reload Esports obviously is doing a lot better this time around. In your mind, Ven, what are the key contributing factors to that?
Just playing a phenomenal series, honestly. I think so much of it comes down to how much time that Lone Tar can actually buy for his team. So the fact that he's playing so well defensively while he's being trained down, kind of reading the situation for what it is. And also, I mean, the thing that's really scary for Lone Tar is he has to throw his positioning, he has to throw caution to the wind in a lot of situations. Even though he's being trained down, it's really scary. The next kidney shot could be his life. He still has to push in, get dispels on his warrior, get purges on the mage, or they're not going to end up winning the game. So I feel like for him, he's kind of been the MVP, but it certainly helps when you have a phenomenal Shadow Priest and Valet backing you up with quick mass dispels when you really need it, and healing for you when you need it as well from Mercy. So I just feel like as a unit, they're working together really, really well. And I mean, it shows. They put in a lot of practice and preparation for these matchups, and we'll see if they can get it done. Method EU, obviously, they do not want to be eliminated. Really, really strong team. And keep in mind, this is now the map and the composition pick that they want. So they do have an advantage here in this final game, but it's still anyone's game. I mean, it could really come down to just like big crits, because there's plenty of times where Tessia has got no ice block, he's no cauterize, he's 20% health. If they get a big crit with a mortal strike, then all of a sudden he's just dead instead of surviving. So I think this is going to be a wild game.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we did have a little bit of a delay going on behind the scenes. Reload Esports took their delay timer and used it on this one. So I think they're really trying to focus in before they head into this game number 5. I was a little bit worried about Method EU yesterday after their games, after their loss yesterday. Especially Waz was looking a little bit stressed out. So I'm really glad that seemingly at least they were able to put that behind them, put that loss behind them and recover today, because they're definitely looking really solid right now, Zico.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, both of these teams, it's a bit bittersweet. One of them is going home at the end of this game, but they've had a phenomenal season. They've both looked absolutely insane, and this is their last chance to really show us what they've got. So I'm expecting to see the A game. I'm expecting to see absolute perfection here from both sides, and we're going to see if the nerves get anybody or if that's what we're going to get. And from the side of Method, they are looking to get their opener here. Waz sneaking in behind the pillar. They get a sap onto Lone Tar. Mercy tries to blade storm him out. Does not succeed. They're going to get the reset. Oh, intervene is up actually for Mercy. He's going to cheap shot Mercy. Geralt Lone Tar here. No intervene for this kidney shot. Delay though with a beautiful massive spell should allow Mercy at least some uptime here. Potentially go for the disarm. And Lone Tar is just not going to take any damage in that first setup. They don't like to really commit their damage in that first setup. They just kind of try to get the earthen wall out of the way, try to poke away the fleshcraft shields and things like that. And then on the next kidney shot, that's where they really commit most of their damage. And Lone Tar is aware of this. He knows Waz is the person who needs to stun him. Beautiful earth grab totem there onto Waz. get spelled out. Waz going to make his way back. Here's kidney shot onto Lontar. Ring of Frost coming out here from Tessia, but no crowd control really onto either Mercy or Valet here. So his kidney shot not going to net them too much. Waz did commit his vendetta here, though. However, nice counter spell snuck in by Tessia. Fleshcraft, though, is going to heal Lontar back up. Full War Banner gets dropped, and it looks like Reload Esports live to fight another kidney.
Yeah, and they're purging down Tessia. Chaz trinkets. His Nature Swiftness goes into nothing. Tessia has to ice block. This is an amazing position for Reload Esports. They hold all of their medallions. They still have pressure on Tessia. Reload Esports might be able to do it, even right here and now.
No
Earth
way.
Elemental is out, just pounding away at Tessia, trying to kill him. But it looks like Lontar may have switched his legendary, wanting to get more value out of Earth Shield against the Assassination Rogue and focused more on defense. But getting through Ice Block Medallion, Quaking Palm for the win as Panda into full fear. Tessia's in a stun. Waz needs to help. Where is Waz?
No
He's not able to
way.
do anything. Tessia is getting burned down at match point. There's nothing left for Chaz. He has no cooldowns. He goes for a Swiftman. Tessia, he wraps around the corner. This is such... Oh man, you would be sweating right now in that position. Now they're turning it around. Combustion. Big damage on the Lontar. Mercy Trinket intervenes and manages to stabilize Lontar for the push. They need to ride this momentum. Getting Cauterized and Ice Block already so soon. They need to get on top of Tessia, but the more Lontar pushes across the map, more opportunities for Waz to take him out. Chaz is running across midfield. Tessia is retreating, and I don't think they can stay on target here. Mercy actually mounts up to try and get back to Tessia. Lontar is going to run around the corner. Waz doesn't want to go after him. Vendetta is available. Where is Waz going to go with this one? He could swap to Mercy. He kidneys Mercy. He's baiting a cooldown. He hasn't popped Vendetta just yet, but they're not falling for the bait. But Chaz is drinking. And that is the most important part for Method EU, is Chaz's ability to heal Tessia and find drinks. Tessia pre-blinks the Stormbolt. Chaz pre-Ironbarks the Silence. This could have been the end of the game. It might even still be the end of the game for Method EU. Tessia alter times. He's trying to blink back in time to Chaz. Maybe they purged it off. It looks like they purged it. No, alter time, but he's still low. Nature Swiftness doesn't even look like it did very much. A full fear by Valet, but a polymorph on Mercy. Mercy can't connect. Lontar pre-walls the incoming kidney shot while his team is crowd controlled, but it wasn't Vendetta, and Combustion is coming up pretty soon, and he actually just has to wall right now? Or at the end, towards the end of his wall, now chaining it into Earthen Wall Totem. Lontar is trying to buy time for his team, but Combustion is coming up, Vendetta is coming up, and you remember how fast Lontar died the last time those two cooldowns met him at the same time.
And this is what I'm talking about. I mean, Tessia, he was playing aggressive, and they were able to get so many cooldowns from him. He's got no Cauterize, no Ice Block, but now that he wants to live, he's just running and hiding the entire game. Basically, all he's doing is running away from Lontar, just trying to isolate Mercy, but they might actually get caught. Big damage here on Tessia. He's forced to trade out the Trinket. He gets another polymorph onto Mercy. And Lontar, this is what I'm talking about. He has to throw caution to the wind. If their team wants to win, he needs to play kind of reckless in a way. I mean, he's got his Trinket, he's got his Spirit Link Totem, but Combustion Vendetta available. Huge hit of damage. However, Reload Esports, they've kind of caught Tessia right now. If they can get the purges, they can get the warrior damage, they could close it out. Double Fear coming in from Valet. Master Spell, beautifully done. Valet, MVP in that situation, basically completely turning that situation on its head. Quaking Palm now on Chaz. Tessia still on the run. Can he get away? He's in soul shape, and it looks like he's going to be able to cross the map once again. He's just got a few seconds left on his Ice Block. One more shifting power, and he will reset it. And now all of a sudden, Reload Esports looks to be in trouble. Maybe they make a swap on Waz. They get Evasion and the Cloak of Shadows, but I think it's unlikely Waz ends up going down in this match, at least at this point in the game. And now cooldowns are kind of evened out. The Method EU is not nearly as much in a panic mode.
Valet gripped Lontar out of his Earthen Wall there.
I think Lontar is actually going to be the one who's in more danger here for sure. Tessia, he's got his Ice Block, he's got his Cauterize, so he's going to be completely... Actually, he doesn't have his Cauterize, but at least has his Ice Block, so he's going to be fine. But Lontar, on the other hand, doesn't have anything. That's going to be his Trinket and his Spirit Link coming out. He's just still ripping in with the Combustion. Big damage coming out here. Waz going to have his Vendetta available right now. He might just pop it, and he will. Astral Shift coming out, as well as the Ascendance here. Lontar literally using his entire spellbook here to try to stay alive, but Waz still with Vendetta rolling, could close this one out. He's going to get a couple of seconds here before that Astral Shift fades. Maybe he can do something with them. It doesn't look like it. Lontar is doing a great job just kiting Waz around that corner. Waz without that Cloak of Shadows really struggling to get some uptime. He actually
I think that's
trinkets
it.
a route just to get this, and this could be the game here. Valet is in position here. That's
1%.
shifting power, resetting his counter spell, lands the counter spell, and Waz, you are absolutely right. Yes, we are moving on to the next series. Method EU staying alive here in the lower bracket.
I mean, you have to feel for Reload Esports. That was such a well-fought series for them. So although they're going to be eliminated in fourth, I feel like it doesn't